I flew nearly 6,000 kilometers from where I live in London, England, all the way to Toronto, Canada, just to see one special metal concert. That's nearly 12,000 kilometers as a round trip. I've never done anything like that before. I mean, what if the bands don't perform well? What if the show gets cancelled? It's a crazy thing to do. So was it worth it? And why did I think to do this in the first place? I'll be answering those questions during the course of this video as I take you with me on that trip. So why did I think to go to this gig in particular? Well, most tours have a great headliner and one, maybe two excellent support bands on the same bill. This particular tour, the Bloom in Heaven tour, featured a co-headliner between metalcore powerhouses Silent Planet and Invent Animate. And there were two additional support bands in 156 Silence and Allt. All four of these bands are headline caliber bands in this scene. And they're all in the same concert, touring North America, but not in the UK. And I was desperate to see this combination of live acts live, so I went to Canada for it. Now, I've seen three of those bands live before: Invent Animate, Silent Planet, and Allt. All fantastic. I'd never seen 156 Silence live before, so I was particularly enthusiastic to see what they might sound like live. And I've interviewed all four of these bands actually on this channel's podcast. I'll add some links in the description so you can watch those if you're interested. I just knew this was going to be a special evening. And in the lead up to this gig that I went to, I could see online on Reddit, the reviews were phenomenal for all four bands. So it was really going to be something special. And life is the experiences you have and the stories you have to tell. So I thought it would be fun to do just to experience that particular gig. Also, my friend Metalburb is a fellow YouTube content creator in the metal scene, and he's based in Toronto, so I figured I could go see the gig, hang out with Metalburb and Orion Reacts, who's also based in Toronto, and I also managed to line up an interview with the vocalists of both the headline bands at the same time together for a conversation. That interview will be on the channel very soon. So off I went on the several hour-long journey from London's Heathrow Airport all the way to Toronto. Now, a challenging factor of this trip is the 5-hour time difference between London and Toronto. So when I landed on the Thursday, normally I'd be going to bed at around 10 p.m. in the UK time zone, but in Canada, that's only 5 p.m. and you can't go to bed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, especially if you're trying to go to a concert that starts at 6:30 in a couple of days' time. But thankfully, I had my friend Metalburb to help me out with a couple of beers and some jolly chats on the Thursday evening in a lovely bar in Toronto that helped keep me awake as long as possible so that I could try and slot in to the time zone. So that was the Thursday. The gig wasn't until the Saturday. So on Friday, we had a whole day to kill, and Metalburb and myself went and met up with Orion Reacts at his amazing studio, where we recorded a podcast all about the metal music reactor scene that we're in, and also another jolly video, which I'm hoping will be on his channel at some point soon. But had a great time catching up with them and connecting over the kind of very specific niche life that we have in YouTube doing the kind of music reaction scene. So that was a wonderful time. I made sure to have a sensible night's sleep that night so that I could be as rested as possible to have a chance of surviving the very late night in my jet-lagged head gig the next day. That gig was a phenomenal experience all around. I'll get to the live sets in a moment, but it was also just wonderful to meet some local Toronto folks who I knew from my Discord server or from YouTube comments coming up and saying hello before the gig. I also got to meet Bogdan, who is another fellow metal content creator. It seems like they all live in Toronto. It was kind of almost like a convention meetup for that gig, and he was a delight. What a wonderful human being. It was great to enjoy so many of the bands during the whole concert with him as well. Just all of us just shouting at the top of our lungs to all the lyrics. That was a joy. If you've seen a few of my reactions in this channel, often the better ones, I'll be saying, thank you to Michelle Elise for requesting this one. Michelle Elise was at the gig in Toronto, so I got to meet her, which was absolutely a delight as well. And getting the chance to have both Marcus and Garrett for an interview at the same time in their tour bus before the venue was just such a privilege, honestly. And everyone on that tour, all the bands, I've met a couple of them before because of the podcast, but every single person was chilled, lovely, friendly, wonderful human beings. The entire vibe was very welcoming and kind, and yet on stage, there's just like unhinged energy of heaviness and chaoticness. That, I think, is the joy I was hoping to experience at this gig that I absolutely got. This is heavy music. There's metalcore, there's scream vocals. At times there's moshing, but also everyone is lovely. And also we're in Canada. Everyone's very polite and very friendly. It's a wonderful combination of things that just made for a quite a jubilant, joyful evening overall. And this was somewhat personified by the fact I was able to watch the soundcheck of Allt in the venue before everyone else arrived. And the boys in Animate who just got their ramen for dinner were there hyping up Allt just by themselves as they were soundchecking. It seemed like a very supportive tour environment overall. And then it was time for the live bands. Now, first band on of the night was Allt, one of the bands I've seen before, and I was so excited to see them because I know how good they can be. I've seen them before live when they toured with Imminence and Aviana, and they absolutely delivered. Now, Robin, at the time, the vocalist, was a little bit under the weather, he said, but his vocals were still good. I was excited to see what he could deliver on this show, and it was full throttle phenomenal. They had this great LED screen behind them, which all the bands used throughout the evening. And it was cool to see that just the starkness of the Allt logo, and sometimes it'd be glitching. The introduction track that they had from the New World album sets this ominous tone, and they just deliver banger after banger of heavy, fall-laden metalcore gold. And Robin did a phenomenal job with all of the vocal acrobatics he needed to do for his particular performance. Adam on the drums makes me, I said this to him later on that night, he makes me simultaneously want to quit the drums because he's so much better than surely I will ever possibly be. But also, it's really inspiring. I'm like, well, surely there must be a way to learn that. How? There's going to be rudiments, there's going to be practice. It was super inspiring. He is an excellent, excellent drummer. So phenomenal to see Allt. They opened up like a headliner, just punching every song through those speakers, and this crowd seemed incredibly receptive to it as well. They went down great. And then after them was 156 Silence, who I'd never seen live before. So because of that, arguably that was maybe the live set I was looking forward to the most, because it's a brand new experience entirely for me. Now, their album People Watching was, I think, number 2 on my Albums of the Year list last year. I cannot get enough of that album. I'm almost obsessed with it. It's so fucking good. So I was delighted to hear some tracks off of that. They had a couple songs from a previous record, but the rest of their set was off of People Watching. And every single song was delivered with a fury. The technical execution of all of the musicians, who are brilliant, by the way, was excellent. But there's also something authentically passionate about the way that they were delivering. They weren't just standing there and playing. They were channeling something as they were playing those things. I was almost in a trance during their set. Their songs are great on record. Live, they really translate. The journeys that they go through live are absolutely captivating. And Jack especially was such a fucking cool frontman. He's coming on with his baseball cap and sunglasses, kind of a little bit of an enigma, and then just delivers these devastating scream vocals. I'm sure at one point I heard him do like a pig squeal. It was absolute acrobatics from him as well, but also nailed the clean vocals for those songs too. Now that's something he was worried about when we had a podcast interview with him before. He was like, I don't know how I'm going to do these things live. And all the feedback online before this gig has said they're phenomenal. And I can say that absolutely in the room. It was really something special to witness. I fucking loved their set. They were amazing. Cannot wait for them to come to the UK at some point. So they don't have to travel 6,000 kilometers, but I will definitely be seeing them again anytime I can. They should be on your radar if they're not already. They are well worth seeing. Up next was Invent Animate, the first of the co-headliners of this tour. I'd already seen them once before as they toured in the UK with The Plot in You, and I was very, very impressed with their performance then. Somehow, they've got even better. Perhaps because they're approaching this as a headliner, they had a little bit more consideration. They were able to use more specific lighting for different songs, which really helps to elevate and capture the attention as you go through the songs. But also, the sound was phenomenal. Somehow it seems like Marcus's vocals are getting even better. They were perfect, pitch perfect, but also incredible in their expression throughout. And there was great energy from the other band members as well. They were chatting through the mic on asking for circle pits or walls of death or crowd surfers, making it a very involved show. I stayed the hell away from the mosh pit throughout the entire evening. Not metal burb, like a happy golden retriever. He was bouncing up and down in that mosh pit here and there, which was a joy to see. Honestly, that man is adorable. Somehow, for a metalhead, he's the most adorable I think I've ever met. But the setlist was fantastic. As Marcus mentioned in the interview, they were playing in full the album of Heaven Earth, but not in order. So they kind of rearranged that in order to have, I guess, the flow that they wanted to have setlist-wise to end on the right kind of song and have the right kind of lull halfway through the set as well. And it was beautifully done. There's so many hard-hitting songs. They are ferociously heavy when they turn on the heavy tab in a song, but also otherworldly beautiful and ethereal in the more quiet melodic moments that they have as well. And there was a really special moment in their set when they played one of the songs off of the Bloom in Heaven EP that they have with Silent Planet, when Mitch and Garrett from Silent Planet came on stage to perform that song. That song is called All the Light Is Gone, and it was maybe the highlight of this set. It was performed just gorgeously. Those voices melted together so well, felt special and rare, because you're only going to be able to do that live if you have Silent Planet in the building, which is not going to always be the case, of course. So that felt already, I mean, to be honest, I already felt like it was worth the trip after seeing Allt live, and then every band subsequently just made it more and more. And that song, seeing that live, was absolutely nail on the head, worth seeing. That's why you travel to gigs. That's why you go and see gigs as soon as you can if you like a particular EP or album, whatever it is, to try and experience that, because sometimes those things do hit different live. And that song was absolutely gorgeous. Also, Robin from Allt joined them for one of the songs with the most epic scream vocals. They even looked like it very much impressed Marcus Vick, as you can see in this clip here. I just love when bands collaborate together like that. It's just such a special and awesome thing to see. After Invent Animate's set, I had a few minutes then before Silent Planet to interview Jack from 156 Silence, which I'll edit at some point in the next few days, and that will end up on Instagram and TikTok. It was just a short few minutes. It's not going to be a YouTube interview, that one, but have a look out for that one. My social handles are at the end of this video. Anyway, then it was Silent Planet's turn. Now, I'd seen them recently in London on their headline tour of the UK, so I knew the caliber that they could perform at. But I was excited to see what they'd be like in this larger room than the one that I saw, and oh, did it translate well. And they had their LED screens somehow maximized even more so on this particular run. And they had some pyros. I think in Van Animate had some as well, some kind of smoke pyros as well. So there was extra production on both of their sets. And for Silent Planet, it was just utterly captivating, as per usual. The musicians in that band are god tier. Their drummer Alex is such a phenomenal fucking beast on the drums, especially when they played a kind of interlude song, and he's the improvisation of drum fills and drum beats he was putting in there were so fucking delicious. I could barely handle it. I thought it was absolutely wonderful, and a lovely human being as well. I got to chat to him after the show. Amazing to watch him perform. The whole band delivered brilliantly, and Garrett is a bit of a magician on stage. He also could put you in a bit of a trance. The intensity with which he delivers the emotive aspects of their band, which is a key draw for their music. It is emotional, it is thought-provoking, it is uniting, it is inspiring, and he carries that onto the stage as well. It was a beautiful thing to have heavy fucking songs that also uplift in some way as well. Now, they didn't play every single song off of Super Bloom, but they played the vast majority of them. They played them in order, but then they sprinkled into the set list some of the kind of favorites from the past. So they did play Mindframe, which is actually not on that album, but it's a more recent one, which is one of my favorite songs. So that absolutely slapped live. So good. They played Antimatter, which is my favorite song off of Super Bloom, so delighted with that. But they also played some cuts from the past as well, ending on Trilogy, which is a masterpiece of a song. And they also played another one of the songs from the Bloom in Heaven EP they did with In Van Animate. So for Return to One, Marcus Vick came on stage to deliver his part of the vocals for that. Another rare live experience moment to get that you're only going to have on a tour like this where they're both there. So that was just epic. What a fucking relentless song that is. Beautiful, really beautiful moment that was as well. But yeah, I'm delighted to report that every single band set was fantastic. So to answer with total certainty that question of was it worth it, I think you can know my answer. Of course it was. Now sure, it's possible, because I can't know because it's all subconscious, this particular part. Maybe traveling nearly 6,000 kilometers might make me emotionally invested in enjoying that experience and considering it amazing. That is certainly possible. But I've seen enough gigs, genuinely I've seen thousands of live sets, to know how to assess them on an emotional level, but also on a technical level. And technically that tour was fucking perfect, almost. It was just incredible. And the entire experience, the days I spent in Toronto, was a wonderful experience. Felt like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of a thing. And that's the point of life. For me, you got one ride on planet Earth. You get one go. Unless the Buddhists are right. You get one go. Make it a good one. Try and have as many interesting experiences as you can. Life should be almost unbearably entertaining if you can make it so. And it was almost unbearably entertaining. I mean, the jet lag made me feel pretty weird for most of those days. Now I'm back in London. I'm going to try and slot back into this time zone. So I'm going to have a tricky couple of days ahead, energy-wise, but totally worth it. It was an adventure that completely delivered on every aspect of that journey. So enormous thank you to everyone who helped make this trip possible. And especially my wife, who looked after my kids, kept my family life going back in London while I was away for that weekend. My brother, Paul, who helped me as a producer along the trip. He's also a big fan of those bands, so it was a joy to spend that time with him. Everyone in the bands for being super accommodating for interviews and conversations for that gig. Also, thank you to Metalburb and Orion Reacts for hosting us very generously there as well. And everyone who said hello at that gig. It was, pretty life-affirming overall. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, there's more live reviews coming up for sure. This is something I love doing. I check out new music, I react to those, I review those. I also review live concerts. I also interview bands. So make sure you check out the interview with Marcus Vick and Garrett Russell soon on this channel. And do subscribe for more excellent music fun such as this. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in another video very soon.